Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by. Woodcycle here. Hope everyone's doing okay. Working on this pine knot wood spirit. It's pretty much seen better days, but I caught it before it fully decomposed. Yeah, I'm using my Milwaukee right angle die grinder with a saber tooth ball burr, just to start off with the eyes as I usually do. I don't mean to be a broken record, but this is information I'll just pass on right now for anyone that's new to the channel, perhaps. But yeah, it's a pretty solid piece of wood inside, but on the outside it's kind of scaly. You have to wear a mask usually with this stuff because it's really powdery. As you can see on the tool, it's all coated with the dust. You have to occasionally brush off that stuff so it doesn't clog up the vents. Yeah, this will be a start to finish video. I usually break stuff into separate parts, but I think I'll just soldier through on this one, get it done. I don't like leaving things hanging sometimes, but sometimes you have to step away for a bit and continue on the next day or so. I'm not a really speed carver, but like I do speed the film up or the video up a little bit. It's about twice the speed, 2.5 or so around there. The complete project took around an hour and 15 minutes real time, but I shrunk it down obviously with the time lapse feature on the video editing software. I usually start off with a bigger tool when I'm doing the rough out right now. Since it's such a bigger piece, I usually, for smaller pieces, I'll just stick with like a Dremel style rotary tool starting off. Just the die grinder seems to moto through this stuff pretty good. Now I've switched over to this generic Dremel tool, Chicago Electric. It's actually been working pretty well. I'm surprised it's held up so long. But yeah, I'm jumped down to like smaller burrs now, going for the detail area around the eyes and the mouth, mustache. And that's like a flame burr cut saw right there. Pretty good tool. I don't see any difference really between them and saber tooth, to be honest. I bet some people have their own preferences, but like I said in the past, whatever gets the job done, I guess. Here I'm just doing some pencil work just to lock in the feature areas. Graphite works really well for this kind of marking because it grinds off really fast. Sounds like World War III out there. Someone shooting a gun, exercising their Second Amendment rights. Honestly, it's kind of stupid they're wasting ammo with the rapid fire. Yeah, I pack around a couple fire sticks just for protection. You never know. Yeah, it's looking good now. It's kind of shaping up now. Using this cut saw extreme taper. This is pretty good for getting in there in those tight corners with the eyes. Yeah, my preferred burrs are spherical, and these taper burrs are probably the go-to burrs I use quite a bit. Yeah, it's kind of curious what kind of burrs everyone out there is using. If you want to leave a comment saying what kind of your favorite burrs are, I'd be interested in knowing that. Thanks, I appreciate that. So once you get these wood spirits down, they're pretty simple and fast. It just takes practice and patience, somewhat, and perseverance. But sometimes it's good to have physical reference material, like a toy doll or something. You can look at the face or something and get the proportions and shapes down. Helps to have a physical object in front of you sometimes instead of going by rote memory. But it depends on what kind of face you're doing. Like most people do the male faces, it seems like the females are kind of like harder to do for some reason. I don't know. But I do a few female faces here and there. I need to get back into that actually. Kind of like push your boundaries a little bit, explore different things. For the mouth, I'm not going to really do too much. I'm just going to put a little pie hole in there. Nothing too extravagant. It's going to be kind of covered up with the facial hair somewhat, but there'll be something obviously there that you can recognize. Proportions aren't exact, but they're kind of like in the ballpark, I would say. I don't use calipers too much or hardly at all to place anatomy on the face. Some people do that when they're copying other pieces, which I can understand. So, yes, going back to like a spherical bird just to kind of smooth things out here. It's actually a saber-toothed fine sphere bird. I think motos through the wood really nice, and it leaves it behind a smoother finish than the extreme cut saws. So, plus it's got a smaller diameter. It allows you to get into the smaller areas. I've had this burr for like several years now, and it's like still holds up pretty well. The longevity of the saber tooth and cut saw is pretty amazing. It means you don't have to spend as much money on burrs and things like that, which is really nice since the way the price of these things are. It's well worth it, I'd say. Yeah, when I first started off, I used Dremel bits, and they were more like carbide burrs, and they didn't have the multi teeth thing like these saber tooth and cut saw, and they just wore out so much faster. They didn't have like a didn't hold their edge too much after a while. Started smoking and stuff, getting dull. Smoking the wood a lot, yeah. Occasionally I'll go back to those things, but I don't use them too often. But one thing I do say about those Dremel carbide burrs that they leave a smoother finish behind as opposed to like a rougher surface after using saber tooth and stuff. Yeah, there's multiple times where I just go through with a pencil and just kind of reiterate markings on the face for posterity's sake. Even the pie hole's getting a little attention there. Also, when you have a pencils, make sure you have a pencil sharpener around because it does come in handy. Or a knife that you can sharpen it by hand if you have to. Nothing sucks more than a dull pencil point, in my opinion. Just like your tools, keep your pencils and your mind sharp at all times. You never know when you're going to rely on them. Just my 2 cents there for what it's worth. I think I'm going to be getting a new tool soon. I'm not sure when, but it could be a micromotor because I used to use these Stylo Plus and they're just like didn't even last very long. They're not heavy duty tools. They seem to be planned obsolescence or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, here I'm busting out the saber-tooth taper fine burr. It's an 1/8 inch burr. Very nice, but you got to be kind of mindful of the tapered tip. They sometimes break off if you're not careful because they're super delicate on the end. Because you can actually break the tip off. I broke a tip off before on actually a Dremel burr that has the same physical attributes as a cut saw and saber tooth. I don't know about the copyright laws with these tools if they get into some kind of a agreement or something like that because some of them seem almost identical. Yeah, I like how they color code their burrs so you instantly know which one's coarse or which one's fine. Pretty smart move. And the paint doesn't wear off too much except for the tip area there, as you noticed. See, it's getting all kind of punky there. It's kind of breaking up, so I had to switch gears on the mustache area there. So the wood literally turns to dust after a while. Give it time. Everything goes to dust. It's part of nature, I guess. Everything breaks down after a while. Yeah, even with that brush, I had problems like getting all the residue powder off the face because it's pitchy and it's kind of stubborn to get rid of sometimes. So you have to get some kind of wire brush. Here's an example of the smaller diameter ball burr that Dremel puts out. It's a cutter burr, carbide burr, I think. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's good for getting in the tight spots as well. Comes in handy for these tight spots, especially around the eyes. Yeah, here I'm scribing out the eye area. It's always good to have a sharp scribe on hand, exactly for this type of work. Just for detail purposes, also. It's kind of therapeutic in a way, I would say. Yeah, I'm using it like a lever action there with the thumb as a pivot point. It actually helps out quite a bit. Always use levers to your advantage. Yeah, I could literally spend hours doing this stuff like this. Yeah, checking all angles just to make sure everything's okay. Looks good. So it looks like we got a wrap. You could drill a hole in the back and hang this thing on a wall. No problem. Some people slice them in half, but I don't like to do that. It's a matter of preference, I guess. So, anyway, thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.